Wow, what a face. Welcome to Armchair Conversations with Rob. A while back, I did a talk about visualization. Golly, probably a while back. Um, but I had gotten questions about writing down a visualization, something a little more specific, or maybe taking something from something I'd done before as an example of how to write down a visualization. So I'm going to take an old one that I wrote down. I found it in one of my retro notebooks and read it to you as an example of what you might want to do to begin to form a visualization of something that you want. At this time, I was working at a little store, which is still very near and dear to my heart for the products I sell, called Vitamin World. It's a conglomerate made up of MBTY, which is the parent company, and you've probably heard them online as Puritan's Pride, MBTY, and Vitamin World. They also have a couple of other labels, probably about 40 some labels. In fact, a couple doesn't quite cut it. Anyway, I worked for them at this time, and I had a visualization about what type of a store I wanted to run because I was a store manager. So here's an example of a visualization. Um, Maybe it'll help you to create yours. And you got to understand, I wrote this down. I was visualizing these things. So when you write these things down, you also want to visualize what you're writing, what it looks like, what it might feel like, and get as detailed into it as possible what you would hear, see, smell, possibly even taste if it's like food related. And so I wrote down, I want to have a clean, neat, perfectly stocked store. All resets done perfectly with all the correct adjustments. And so in my mind, I was seeing these things happening, seeing my store clean. I want a friendly, courteous staff who are knowledgeable about products. You're seeing that staff that you have trained and hired and trained to perform to the level um, of your standards, and that they're bringing the satisfaction to your customers from their abilities. They should be able to cross-reference all products as well as handle proper procedures. They should also be able to easily assist me in doing store paperwork. That one, you literally have to see yourself training them to help take over parts of your job to make your job easier, thus freeing you to help the store function and become more productive. They do not have to constantly be told what needs to be done. They should see it and act on it. And so you're literally seeing them performing the work in your mind's eye, envisioning, imagining them performing the work that they were hired to do. So reading it all the way through without interruptions once more, I want to have a clean, neat, perfectly stocked store. All resets done perfectly with all the correct adjustments. I want a friendly, courteous staff who are knowledgeable about products. They should be able to cross-reference all products as well as handle proper procedures. They should also be able to easily assist me in doing store paperwork. They do not have to constantly be told what needs to be done. They should see it and act on it. And then at the bottom I wrote, if I can see it, it can be achieved. So there you have an example of a visualization. Um, I wrote it down so that by writing it down and being able to read it to myself, that it would spark my brain to visualize these things actually happen, to visualize the clean floors and the store looking really good and my employees doing a great job at what they did. And granted, some of the visualization isn't necessarily kosher because you can't always force people to do what you want. But if if by any means you can influence your own subconscious, then helping you to try to bring it about. So like, for example, seeing them as friendly and courteous is going to maybe encourage you subconsciously to do the things necessary to train them and to help them to do their job to the best of their ability, or if nothing else, to find people to look for people who are courteous and whatnot. So, just an example of a visualization. I do have one other one. This visualization is more personal. This one is more like your personal goal stuff. Um, a lot of times we won't visualize in all the areas of our life. We'll only visualize in some. Like we may, as guys, for example, visualize trying to have a relationship, get the girl, or we may try to visualize ourselves setting some goal that nobody but us cares about, or things that aren't important, but we don't always use that same visualization tool and skill in our private lives in places that are more important or that are more long lasting than a win at the bowling alley. Okay. Um, for example, this one was about me having my own business. Um, and so I wrote down, I have a successful business being run for me by a hungry young lion who benefits from the ever upward spiraling profits of the business. I have a beautiful, lavishly furnished dream house with acres of wonderful land. My children are able to grow up in a positive, powerful, and nurturing environment. They grow up to be successful, productive, and powerful beyond our wildest dreams. My family is able to cease from labor and go to reward. We travel the world and spend the best times of our lives together. I can see it, so I can achieve it. And so again, you have to see yourself in possession of these things. You have to see yourself in as much detail as you possibly can muster right now as having those things, already having them, they've already been accomplished, and begin to make it a fun game. I'm just not into this whole work so hard that everything's not happy. I'm into it being a fun game. So again, write down your goals and dreams and give it some detail, give it some spark. Let the words stimulate you to imagine exactly what it is that you want. So for those of you that are very successful with the visualization process or are just starting with it and very curious about what it does, skip this back and forth a few times and listen and learn a little bit about how I had approached it when I first began to use visualization. Um, I'm not going to do the predict, prove, confirm speech here because I'm not a salesman anymore, but I will give you examples of some of the things that I wrote down to get your juices flowing about how you might write down some visualizations or imagine things that are going to hopefully come to fruition sooner rather than later for you. So, thank you for sharing my armchair. Give me some feedback, give me some comments, and let me know how I did. If you like it, subscribe. If you don't, that is what search engines are for, and you will find what you need. I am certain of it if you look hard enough, because you found me. So, again, have a great day, wherever and whenever you are. And come back and see us real soon, yeah?